Okay, so today I wanted to talk to you about the Coldplay Kiss Cam scandal, and it's quite something. I've never seen the internet be this angry at two people who are like not famous in the slightest. It's quite insane. So this happened just a few days ago at a Coldplay concert at Gillette Stadium on the 16th. It is the 19th as I'm filming this. Let's just watch the clip and let me know what you think.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure.
Either they're having an affair or they're just really shy. Spoiler, it's the first one. Also, I just love the look of fear in his eyes. Have a look at this.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, oh, he looks so happy. They're smiling, whatever. That
all right.
is deer in headlights vibes. Oh, okay. So some background on this. These two people are very high powered. The guy is a CEO of the company called Astronomer, and she is the HR chief or the CPO. In this case, it's kind of the same role. Christine Cabot or Cabot, I think it's pronounced, I don't know. Anyway, they're standing there hugging, and then they get these guilt faces. They're hiding their faces. They're like crawling away, just going off when Chris Martin is talking to them. And yeah, Chris Martin is like, "Ooh, are they either they're having an affair or they're very shy." And that quip, like that little joke, hits so weird. Like it almost feels like I'm angry with Chris Martin because like he's joking about an affair, and then it turns out it is. And obviously, this is very hurtful for his wife, Andy Byron's wife, and she has gotten way more attention for this than she would probably ever want in such an humiliating period in her life. So why does this moment hit, would you say? I would say it's like there's this visceral shame on camera, right? They almost feel smug at first. They're so happy. And then it goes to show that they know that what they're doing is wrong. It's almost like, maybe they enjoy that it's a little bit wrong. They know that he's cheating. And on top of that, there's this thing we're going to get into, but the head of HR and the CEO cannot have a secret relationship. It breaks the entire corporate structure, accountability, everything, but we'll get to that. But first, I just wanted to ask you guys something because this made me think, what would I react like this on? What would make me react like this if someone filmed me and it became public, right? I don't think I have anything, but it's hard to know. I'm pretty sure they had blocked it out of their heads at that given time. If you were filmed doing something in your everyday life, is there anything apart from typical stuff like, being in the bathroom or whatever that you would be ashamed of? I'm trying to think of some good example, but they're all too terrible to say in a video. And I think it also sets things up that they both know that they're doing something wrong. It's like a sustained deceit. I don't think this was the first time they did anything. Like, this is not the first time they felt chemistry or something. You don't go to a Coldplay concert with just a colleague like this, and suddenly you're there, you're like, ooh, we got some vibe. I'm gonna hold you like this. This has been going on for a while, clearly. So I just wanted to touch on cheating in general. I think it's the most emotionally violent, humiliating thing you can probably do to a partner. One of the worst betrayals. It's just awful. I think it's easy to just focus on the man or just focus on the woman. I've actually seen a lot of people focusing on the woman. I feel like women often get more hate than men, or maybe more hate than they deserve. But in this case, they're both terrible people. If anyone's a little bit more terrible, it would be him, because being the CEO is a higher power position and he's the one who's married. But she clearly knows. So honestly, I think they can both rot. But at the same time, me and millions of people probably shouldn't be involved in this. You know what I mean? This has probably gone too far. And I also want to say that if there's anyone watching this who has cheated, I'm not saying you are evil, but it is a very, very terrible action. And I hope you never do it again. And I hope none of you guys do that because it's terrible. Break up with your partner before you do anything else. Don't test out the waters with someone else before leaving or whatever. It's such a tired trope to promise someone you're going to leave your partner or whatever. Like, we're in love. No, it doesn't matter how much you love each other. You're terrible people if you're cheating and you're sustaining it at all. Or just leave if you have interest in anyone else. But I think the company thing is so much more cut and dry here because you never really know what's going on behind closed doors with the relationships. By the way, the wife, when this came out, she deleted his last name from her Facebook profile immediately. And then after that, she just deleted all of her profiles. So obviously, this is not some like open relationship thing, at least not one that she could stand by. So it seems pretty cut and dry that this was very humiliating and bad for her, and she didn't want this attention. So I'm not going to talk about her, show her face or anything. But yeah, these two cheating people, they are working at a company called Astronomer that provides backend framework essential for building and maintaining reliable, scalable data pipelines, critical infrastructure for modern AI and analytics. So basically, the way I read this is that they are the janitors for AI companies. So they run analytics and logs and make sure that everything runs smoothly on stuff that other people build. Make sure that the ongoing maintenance of AI stuff works properly. And they have some public values that they announce, Astronomer, the company, and it's integrity and accountability. And with these two people not having any integrity and not having any accountability, that means that it just feels like a parody. It feels like one of those evil companies that say one thing and then they do the exact opposite in like a superhero movie. It's crazy. I think that's part of why it becomes so easy for it to go viral. It's just so clearly just evil and hypocritical. So if you're not familiar with how companies work, like the HR person and the CEO having a relationship that breaks every rule, and it means that any decision that HR does or any decision that the CEO does, like, it's not legitimate. If the CEO has fired someone and that's been approved by HR or whatever, that can now be called into question. The company might get a lot of lawsuits. There's no one keeping him in check. This is such a power fantasy for a CEO to have the HR person under your thumb, because she's not gonna go after him, which means that like he can do whatever and nothing's gonna happen because that's the HR person's responsibility. No one could check this man until this very moment. And now I think he's gonna get fired. He is on administrative leave right now. They put out a statement, the company, and she is, according to sources, also on leave, but they never named her, which I think is crazy. That is actually kind of weird. I think that might be the company trying to do damage reduction, because it's obviously very bad, again, from a governance perspective, that these two had a relationship. It opens them up massively for lawsuits from ex-employees, etc. It's a dreadful situation. They should both be fired, I think, clearly. One weird thing was that Coldplay came out and said that they were going to start having camera-free parts of their concerts now. And even though I can understand that, and some people want privacy, whatever, I was like, are you making cheating parts of your concert? Like, or here's the cheating area where you can cheat without being filmed. It just seems insane. It's a concert. It's like a public thing. They might get filmed anyway. That's one thing. And secondly, it's just like, what? I understand that you might want to do that, but doing that as a reaction to this, it seems like you're trying to defend cheaters. It's wild. So the public reaction to this has been really wild. This is super viral, like one of the most viral stories in the last few weeks, I would say. And people are saying stuff like cheating is a choice. It's disgusting. That I obviously agree with all of that. I think cheating is freaking awful. And there's a lot of sympathy for the wife and some mob fury. People are projecting their own cheating experiences, like partners have cheated on them, and feeling, you know, some validation or catharsis from seeing such a exact moment when things go totally off the rails for these people that are cheating. People are saying, hope the wife takes everything. But I think these supportive kind of outroars are also very invasive for the wife. I don't think she wants this attention. I think we can clearly see that given that she deleted all of her social medias. But I mean, I think there's many reasons people hate these guys. First of all, people don't like HR people. It's like corporate speak. It's dreadful. It's like the person who comes to fire you or keeps you put down in a way in a company is often the HR people. People don't like CEOs, overpaid elites, whatever. Both of these are super high-powered people, right? And people don't like AI. People don't like tech CEOs. People don't like cheaters. There's so many reasons for this to get shared and viral and for people to be angry with it. I've never seen such a perfect cocktail. And it's so clean. You can see it in their eyes. It's the cleanest license to hate something I've seen in almost forever. It's obviously in the culture right now. People talk about Epstein. People talk about Diddy. All these high-powered people who are doing dreadful things and are being hypocrites and lying. And this just feeds into the same thing. There's this outroar against elites and against AI and against CEOs, everything. It's perfect storm of stuff to hate someone for in 2025. I do think it's important to think about that we don't know what the relationship was. Like, we don't know if there was an open relationship or it was an open marriage or whatever. I don't think it was, given the context of all of this, but I'm always really hesitant to be like, this is exactly how this relationship is. Like, we can't just assume that everyone is in a classic monogamous relationship. Maybe this is just me having LA brain rot. Like, I've never had that type of relationship and would never want it, but I saw it in LA a fair amount. And, whenever there is something like this, when someone is hitting on someone that isn't their wife and they're married or whatever, I'm always like, I guess it's possible someone could be poly or having an open relationship or whatever. It exists. I saw some studies recently. Apparently, the people most likely to have open relationships when it comes to, hooking up or whatever are male gay couples. It's just interesting. That's how it is. But I guess, guys have a higher drive. People are making a lot of jokes as well, like the most expensive concert tickets ever because she's going to come after his money now, which she should, clearly. And caught in 4K, which is pretty stale meme. Didn't really make me smile, but I saw it a lot. But I do think it's a pretty funny reaction gif or whatever. And there's even more reasons to dislike this Andy CEO who cheated. According to ex-employees, and this is not just Reddit posts or whatever, this is stuff that the New York Post and the Information has on record with ex-employees. He was a toxic boss. If someone went against him on like a decision or something, he would freak out on them and he would threaten to fire people. People quit because he was such a bad boss. And yeah, there's just nothing good about this man, clearly. Lawyers have come out and said that this whole relationship is the worst HR nightmare imaginable, is ludicrous, and that it's clear that she can't discipline anyone now. It's so bad. And I think there's a few narratives that I think this punctures, even though I think everyone has already known this. But for example, having money and being high-powered doesn't mean that you're a good person or that, something is great about you. I think that's such a weird myth nowadays with the grindset culture and everything. Just because you are in a power position, that means that you're somehow good. It's clearly not the case. This is dreadful. And I think power breeds terrible behavior. If you can get away with it, often you will when you're really powerful. And I wanted to tie this into something I want to talk about in a future video, but there's something about individuality nowadays and therapy speak. I do think therapy is good, but often therapy would be so much about my truth and what makes me feel good. And people often treat their responsibilities as optional if it weighs them down and makes them feel bad. And I think that's terrible. You can see it when people break up. I think a lot of people break up in relationships and maybe they promised that they would do things in a specific way or that they had certain agreements about what would happen if we ever break up. And often people will just rewrite history or be like, well, that doesn't serve me anymore, so I don't need to honor my promises. I see that sort of thing a lot. And I think it ties into this. I think there's a certain culture of narcissism that has come with therapy culture and individualism, and it leads to more stuff like this. And I kind of hate it. I think that we would all be better served to think about society a little bit more and, our responsibilities a little bit more and ourselves and our moment to moment emotional state a little bit less. You know what I mean? I feel like stuff like principles and ideals and values, it's something that companies say now in order to try to get more money, but it's not really lived out by a lot of both companies and individuals. Really, people do whatever it takes to get the bag or whatever. And I find that I grew up in a different era where this was not as clear. I don't love that things are moving back towards conservatism, but I think part of why people might be leaning that way is that there's more of a sense of collectivism within conservatism. There's more of a moral framework that you can follow, while we've become so relativistic around just whatever makes me happy, or things have gotten so fragmented that I think people are drawn towards ideals and principles that are a little bit broader. That doesn't mean that that's good or anything, but I think it's not something that's being talked about a lot, that there's a certain upside with having values that we can kind of agree upon in a more structured way. And I think this entire story just comes to show that there's a lot of systemic rot in society and there's a lot of power without accountability, and it really, really sucks. Ask your doctor if TMJ is right for you. That's right. Too much Joel. We're going. Bye.